Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Bhagavad Gita class. We are on chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized. We have done till verse 57. We'll start from 58 onwards, but before that, we will do the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
Jnananjanashalakaya
ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया
Chakshurunmilitam
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं
Yena
येन
Tasmai
तस्मै
Shri Gurave
श्रीगुरवे
Namaha
नमः
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam
चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
स्थाpitam
स्थापितं
Yena
येन
Bhutale
भूतले
Swayam
स्वयं
Rupa
रूपः
Kada
कदा
Mahyam
मह्यं
Dadati
ददाति
Swapadantikam
स्वपदान्तिकं
Vandeham
वन्देऽहं
Shri Guru
श्रीगुरु
Yuta Padakamalam
श्रीयुतपदकमलं
Shri Guru
श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश्च
Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam
श्रीरूपं
Sagrajatam
साग्रजातं
Sahagana Raghunathanvitam
सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं
Tam
तं
Sajivam
सजीवं
Advaitam
साद्वैतं
Bhavantam
सावधूतं
Arjuna Sahitam
परिजनसहितं
Krishna Chaitanya Devam
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
Shri Radha Krishna Pada
श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान्
Sahagana
सहगणा
Lalita
ललिता
Shri Vishakhanvitamscha
श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च
He Krishna
श्रीकृष्ण
Karuna
करुणा
Sindhu
सिन्धु
Dीनबन्धु जगत
दीनबन्धो जगत्पते
गोपेश
गोपेश
कांता
गोपिकान्ता
राधा कांता
राधाकान्ता
नमस्ते
नमस्तुते
सप्त
सप्तकाञ्चन
कांचन
गौराङ्गी
राधे
राधे
वृंदावनेश्वरी
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
देवी
प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये
हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपा
कृपा
सिन्धुभ्यश्च
सिन्धुभ्यश्च
पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः
नमः
नमः ॐ
ॐ
विष्णुपादाय
विष्णुपदाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
कृष्णपृष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
श्रीमते
भक्तिवेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामिनिति
स्वामीति
नामिने
नामिने
नमस्ते
नमस्ते
सारस्वते
सरस्वते
देवी
देवी
गौरवाणी
गौरवाणी
प्रचारिणे
प्रचारिणे
निर्विशेष
निर्विशेष
शून्यवादी
शून्यवादी
पाश्चात्य
पाश्चात्य
देशतारिणे
देशतारिणे
जय
जय
श्री
श्री
कृष्ण
श्री कृष्ण
चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंदा
नित्यानंदा
श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत
गदाधर
गदाधर
श्रीवासादि
श्रीवासादि
गौर
गौर
भक्त
भक्त
वृंदा
वृंदा हरे
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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
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 राम
राम
हरे राम
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 हरे
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 हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
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 हरे राम
हरे
हरे
राम
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 हरे
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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे
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 राम
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 हरे
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 Verse 58 यथा संहरते चायं
यदा
कुर्मोऽङ्कानीव सर्वशः
यदा संहरते चायं कुर्मो घ्वानिव सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
ततः प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठितः
तस्य
प्रज्ञा
प्रज्ञा
प्रतिष्ठिता
प्रतिष्ठिता.
Yeah, so translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
जय.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So now Krishna, starting to describe the next verse uh, about such a person, how he sits down. So Kim Asita, seating, and how he restrains his senses from 58 to 63. How he sits, how the person regulates his senses, how he restrains his senses. Yeah. So yada samharate chayam, cha plus yam. This samharate means to draw in or to make inwards. खींच लेना अंदर, right? Kurbo angaiva sarvashaha. Kurmo, like tortoise, all its limbs it draws inwards. Similarly, indriyani indriyarthabhyasa. Senses one draw away from the sense object. Tasya pradnya pratishtitaha. So again, the same word is used, pradnya pratishtitaha. Who is Pradnya Pratishtita? That person who can withdraw the senses just as the tortoise draw its limbs inward. So here, the person who can withdraw the senses just as the tortoise draws its limbs inward, that emphasis is primarily on the practice of devotional service. But Krishna has not yet talked about himself. So he begins that by talking about how we have to withdraw ourselves from material. So in 54th verse, Krishna's question, Arjuna's question was, and 55th verse, Arjuna was given the answer. And the characteristic was that the person is detached from external and rejoicing the internal. So, how does one detach himself from external? That is described in this verse now. So, that description begins from this verse. A tortoise has its limbs invulnerable, but its shell is imperishable. The shell is so strong that sometimes, even if the elephant foot also pounds that, it can resist that. See, that is the material arrangement that Krishna has done this so beautifully. Because otherwise, tortoise will not be able to see that the elephant is coming, or the man is coming, or a dog is coming, whoever is coming. So he has been designed in such a way that his back is so strong. So even if some elephant-like animal puts his feet on him, he can resist. So if the tortoise limbs are withdrawn, then the tortoise cannot be attacked by anyone. Similarly, we have our senses. Our senses are our weak points. When the war is going on, that time the enemies are always looking for the weak points of, for example, in a cricket match, the bowler knows that this batsman cannot handle a short pitch ball, or maybe an in swinger or an out swinger. So he will try to bowl him that way. Yeah. Or even the captain will put such bowler depending on the batsman's ability to restrain, ability to not play something. So like some batsmen are, can't play against the spin bowlers. So captain will put a spin bowler so that, he will not be able to play that. See, the main objective here is that batsman should get out irrespective of the situation. So he should not be handle the short pitch ball or a spin or whatever. So similarly, when you see the boxing matches, in the boxing, what does the boxer do? He catches the weak point of the opponent. So in boxing also, they say the strategy is hit where it hurts. So boxers give some experimental punches, and while doing so, they try to identify the weak point. They do like this and do like this. So they try to find out which is the weakest point, and there they will hit. And it will hit so hard that the opponent will get either he will fall down, or he will, at least it will hurt him hard. And that's what is, the Maya does to us. So we should be able to control our senses against Maya. You must have seen in the temple, the devotees are raising the hands during the arati. Some new devotee, they come and they raise their hands. After some time, they bring their hands down because they can't control that long. There are two ways to look at it. One is either they cannot hold the hands up that long, or their mind has gone from there to somewhere else. Because as long as they were in the temple looking at the other devotees, that they have brought their hands up and they open the palms as well. Okay. And after some time, they bring it down because they don't find any interest in that, or their mind goes somewhere else. So, and then again, after some time, they say, oh, everybody's hands are still up, so they again bring it up. So, this is the Maya's, power, that we have to continuously keep controlling ourselves. That's why Krishna is giving this example of the tortoise limbs. And then, similar to tortoise limb, we should be able to control our senses as well. And the sense objects, uh, uh, exposed to the external world, they are raiding around everywhere to get caught, and we get dragged down. So when we understand that our senses are our weaknesses, then we have to guard ourselves, our weaknesses. So if we keep ourselves exposed, then naturally we will be knocked down. So the senses has to be withdrawn inwards in Ashtanga Yoga, right? So that's the reason Ashtanga Yoga, what it does, it um, trains your body in order to control the senses of the body. Mooladhara chakra, you know, that, Moola chakra here. So all these chakras are required to be energized. So that is what Patanjali Yoga system teaches us. It's not bad. If you learn that, then you should be able to control your senses. And that's why the yogis in the earlier days, they used uh, like prana vayu, apana vayu, udana vayu, all these vayus, they were able to control them very beautifully. And there was a point when if the yogi is very good in his practices, then he can leave the body the time when he wants it. That's why the prana vayu control and the leaving the prana from your body is also under their control, because they have such a beautiful control on their body. So they have got that skill by which they should be able to control their senses and bring their limbs inside. Those limbs are our, uh, you know, sense gratificationary uh, ele- uh, uh, elements in our body. So withdraw our senses, and Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that yogi is one who can control the senses according to the plan. That means we cannot withdraw the senses round the clock. We have to engage the senses also, but there is a plan when to engage the senses and when not to engage the senses. For example, with respect to speaking, a devotee speaks about Krishna. There are other topics to talk about, but the devotees will not talk about those topics so much. Because if it is not relevant to Krishna, better to avoid talking. That is the practice for devotees. However, people will keep talking about all the irrelevant topics in the world, forgetting about Krishna. They will not discuss about Krishna's pastime. They will not talk about what is written in the Bhagavatam, which canto, which chapter, which verse. No, people don't like to discuss that. They just come for one class in a week, and that's about it. Ho gaya, sara kaam. We are done for the week. And rest of the week, they are not reading anything. That's why we have people in our class itself, we have not yet by-hearted Mangalacharan prayers. Forget about the other small shlokas. Mangalacharan prayers have not been by-hearted. So please do that. Control your senses and concentrate upon those beautiful verses written. And they are written in such a gradual manner that first the Guru's shloka, then Panchatattva, then we go to Radharani, then we go to Krishna, like that. So the gradual progression of those shlokas is very easy for us to remember if we read them logically and understand them logically and then internalize them logically. See, desires in our mind, our body will never go. They will always be there. So we have to keep ourselves de-energized and energized again. I can understand that physically we get tired and then we don't want to do anything. There are so many fantasies in this world. But devotee does not have to get attracted to those fantasies. Devotee has to always control the senses and try to do as much devotion as he can, and under the direction of the Guru. Yeah. So, for all of us, the Guru is Srila Prabhupada. And before that, all the Shiksha Gurus who are trying to give you the Shiksha. Yeah. So, we try to do by checking mechanism that are we able to control our senses or not. Check. Always keep check on us. After, dinner, normally people feel like, thoda sa ice-cream kha lete hain, like, So this is the sense gratification, Once you had your dinner, that's it, full stop. After that, don't eat anything. Control your jivva. Jivva vegam, udara prastha vegam. So that's in the nectar of instruction. When we go to the nectar of instruction, I will teach these verses to you all. And these verses will tell you that how a devotee should be. We'll also talk about how the guru should be, spiritual master. And then we will talk about how the guru, a disciple should be. What kind of person is ready to accept this knowledge from a authorized guru. Yeah. So Haridas Thakur was one of the best examples who was, doing 1 lakh shlokas in a day. 1 lakh, Mahamantra in a day. But because of his yogic practice, he used to look so charming. There was a glow on his face. So there was a time when one prostitute came to Haridas Thakur to attract him so that, she can have a good time with the Haridas Thakur because he was such a yogi. But Haridas Thakur was continuously absorbed in the holy name. And he did not even know that the prostitute is there or not there, etc., etc. If he would have seen her, and he might have seen her, but then he controlled his senses. He could control because he has so much yogic power in him. So ultimately what happened? That prostitute started chanting. That is the power of the devotee. That he is so absorbed in Krishna that Krishna will also be given to the other person who is not serious at all. Yeah. So we have to absorb in the devotional service in such a way that we should be able to take our senses in like tortoise and our limbs, and then we should be able to control our mind, our actions, and then chant about Krishna. Yeah. So now in the next verse, verse 59, the only 58 verse is not enough. Just taking the limbs inside is not enough. There is further to it. And what is that? Vishya vinitante niraharasya dehina rasa varajam rasopyasya param drishta nivartati. I'll chant this. Vishya vinirtante
Shya vinivartante
niraharasya dehinaha
niraharasya dehina
rasa varajam rasopyasya
rasavarjam rasopyasya
param drashtva nivartate.
param drishva nirvartate.
Once more. Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha
Vishya vinivartante niharasya dehina
रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते
रसावर्जं
रसवर्जं
रसोऽप्यस्य
रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा
परं
निवर्तते।
दृष्ट्वा निवर्तन्ते।
फुल श्लोक विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
विनिवर्तन्ते
निहारस्य देहिनः
निराहारस्य देहिनः
रसावर्जं
रसवर्जं
रसोऽप्यस्य
रसोऽप्यस्य
परं
परं
दृष्ट्वा
दृष्ट्वा
निवर्तन्ते।
निवर्तते।
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So now Krishna is talking about a higher taste. It is not only controlling the senses, but at the same time going for the higher taste, not going for the cheaper taste of the material objects. Once again, I repeat, the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense object remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So, Vishya vinivartante, Vishya, sense objects, vinivartante, to draw away from, or to stay from, stay away from. Niraharasya dehinaha. So, generally, we use the word ahar for food. But for the conditioned soul, these sense objects are like the food. And when one doesn't get the sense objects, one feel as if I am not getting any ahar. I am hungry. So I'm not getting any food at all. So if we are fasting, we feel agitated. I want food, I want food, I want food. So, and that, uh, uh, you know, that kind of feeling inside the heart is so much that his eyes, our person's eyes are hungry. I want to see something, ears hungry. Sometimes, so we want to see the food, and at least by seeing, we want to get ourselves, you know, feel uh, saturated. But by seeing, what will happen? Our hunger will increase, and then we want to eat it. So when when we are doing fasting, we stay away from all the food items. We put ourselves into continuous chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or listening or chanting to uh, uh, Vishnu Sahasranam, or other shlokas or verses and all those things. And also read Srimad Bhagavatam, read the story of from Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. So that the ahar comes from senses, and they give the hungry feeling. So for them, but this ahar is not actually an essential ahar. Many times we mistake the irresistible to be essential, but irresistible is not necessarily essential. What is the difference between the two? An alcoholic thinks that alcohol is irresistible. Yes, for the addict, at that particular time, alcohol may seem irresistible. But just because something is irresistible doesn't make it essential. Essential is that without which we cannot survive. So food, water, sleep, these are things without which we can't survive. We need all these for our survival. But nobody needs alcohol for survival. Although one may be subjectively feel that one may need it. So there is a difference between subjective feeling of necessity and objective fact of necessity. So most of the time we fail with our struggle of sense objects because we mistake the subjective feeling of necessity to be the objective fact of necessity. So when a person is overwhelmed by lust, that time he feels that I need this, but actually one doesn't need it. So as long as alcoholic is in need of addiction of alcoholic drinks, alcoholic things. So that if I need alcohol, but when the same alcoholic undergoes the therapy and gets cured, that time he understands that he doesn't need alcohol. Similarly, what seemed irresistible to us when we are in mode of passion and ignorance, we come to the mode of goodness and move towards the transcendence. We realize that I don't need this. That is how we become purified from that craving of unnecessary things. And feeling of necessity will start growing in our heart, in our mind. So what is the feeling of necessity for a devotee? Talking about Krishna, about a person who is talking about Krishna. So that feeling is of niraharasya. No, I cannot live without this niraharasya dehina. Rasa varjam. This, and what is the solution to that? Param drishtva nivartate. Only when a person gets a higher taste. This is very interesting concept because Srila Prabhupada's standard translation is higher taste. But if we see what Krishna is using the word here, it is drishtva. So param is transcendental. Param is highest. So param is transcendental or higher or spiritual. Now drishtva is with respect to vision. It is not with respect to taste. Drishti is sight and drishtva is vision. So param drishtva nivartate. The verse started with vinivartante. One gives it up, but one still wants it. But nivartante means one gives it up, but no longer wants it. So param drishtva has literal meaning as higher vision, a higher perception. So happiness is ati indriyam. It is described in samadhi stage. That is in verse 6 of 6 chapters, I think 6.20 or 23. It is Vidya's Sukham Attantikam Yattad Buddhi Gahyam Atindriyam and all these verses, Buddhi Gahyam. So it is perceived through consciousness, through intelligence, then Atidriyam it is beyond the senses. So happiness of Krishna consciousness is actually beyond the senses. It is a transcendental happiness. So that transcendental happiness is perceived through senses. Yes, the senses can be gateways. We may take prasadam, we may take darshan of deities, we may sing the holy name. So the senses may be the gateways for the pleasure, happiness. But the senses are not the primary source. The source of happiness is ultimately the Krishna. An experience of Krishna is not just sensory, it is transsensory. Transsensory. So it is beyond this material world. That is why it is transsensory. So it is actually a spiritual experience. The experience may be initiated by the chanting of the holy names, but the experience culminates with the contact of soul with Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada is giving the pointer towards the transsensory aspect of the higher taste. So that higher taste of remembrance of Krishna. So when he says higher taste, so we understand that when he says higher taste, it is not something which we tasted so far. So our tongue has not tasted that particular. However, here the meaning of that is our tongue didn't have the higher param drishtva. That is something which is missing. So we perceive with our eyes. It is actually experiential because our eyes has a limited vision. Where did we learn this? That our eyes have limited vision?
Science class. School.
3 pramans. Don't forget what we have learned before. Seeing is believing. Isn't
प्रत्यक्ष
it?
प्रमाण प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण There were three
Anuman
types.
Praman.
Anuman Praman.
Pratyaksh Praman, Anuman Praman, and
Astral.
And verbal Praman.
Shabda Praman. So there is simpler thing we are forgetting, because we don't study. We don't listen to the lecture after the class has happened. So how much important it is to study and take the notes. You should have a notebook where you can write down. This point again and again comes. And I ask every time I just get half the answer or 1/4 answer. Not good. Yeah. So Param Drishta is something which we perceive with Param, that is transcendental perseverance. So that experience in the core of our heart should be awakened, and that will awaken only when our bhakti is stronger. And we don't get the material higher taste, craving for the material higher taste. Our craving should always be for the Krishna's, uh, pastimes of Krishna, or we chanting Krishna's name as many number of times that we can. So we also have now the standard that whether you're doing 2 malas, 4 malas, 8 malas, 6 malas, and that should increase. And maximum is 60, not beyond that. So are we progressing or not? That is the thermometer of that. Submitting your sadhana card on a daily basis is very, very important. Let me fill it up. And there is a option, save and send later. So keep saving it every day. Keep saving it, how much you have done. So we have to, our progress only we can know. Nobody else would know, right? Until the time you fill it up and then send it. And whatever sadhana you are doing, it is only visible to me. I'm not showing it to the world. Right? Any question on this verse? Next verse number 60. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha.
Yatato hi apakunteya purushasya vipaschitaha.
Indriyani pramathini haranti pasabham manaha.
Indriyani pramatini haranti prasvam manaha.
Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti pasabham manaha.
Yatato hi apakunteya purushaya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti
This is a very
prasvam
important
manaha.
verse. Now here Krishna will directly talk about that our senses are so strong and impetus that they forces us, to take the mind away. Yeah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The senses are so strong and impetus, O Arjun, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. That means a yogi. Yeah. We have seen the examples in India a lot. Baba Ram Rahim, Asaram Bapu, and many others. Right? So, the so-called yogi, fake gurus, they might have started somewhere, but then they got attracted towards the bad things. So in the second chapter, we are now moving to the end of second answer and then to the third answer. So this is a very gradual progression that we are doing here. So second answer, the 4 questions were Sthita Pradnya Ka Bhasha, Kim Prabhasheta. So actually, Ka Bhasha and Kim Prabhasheta, they were very related questions. So Ka Bhasha, the question is answered in 2.55. Then Kim Prabhasheta, what is the language that is answered in 256 and 257? So we are discussing the third question now. That is answered in 258, 263, up to 263. And then after that, there was a Kim Asita. How does it sit? And how does he control the senses? How does the person regulate the senses? And Vrajeta Kim. How does he control? Will be answered in 2.64 onwards. Yatato hi api kaunteya. So yatato is to endeavor. Hi api kaunteya. So, O Kaunteya, O Arjun, even when a person is endeavoring, certainly endeavoring, Purushasya Vipaschitaha. Which kind of person Vipaschita? A person who has a discrimination, who has the capacity to know what is right and what is wrong. And even if for such a person, Indriyani Paramathini, Paramatha is like madness, storm, Indriyani Pramathini, wild and impetuous senses, Haranti Prasabham Manah. Haranti means they drag away the steel or they steal away our senses and take towards what? Where it should not. So Prasabham Manah, so they drag away thoroughly by force. Prasadham Manah is by force. So here Krishna is not talking about the ordinary who is controlled by senses. There are Vikarmis, Karmis, and Yogis. He's talking about those. And Vikarmis are chase after sense gratification. They defy or falsifies dharma in this process. For example, who have extramarital or premarital relationships. Those sort of people. Yeah. Karmis are, they seek sense gratification, but by religious means. They do karma kanda and that they, enjoy the sense gratification. 2.43, avipaschitaha is used. So that they think that the sense gratification is promised by Vedas in heaven is ultimate goal of life. So such people are avipaschitaha. They don't understand that there is higher goal of life beyond sense gratification. And that sense gratification keeps one in bodily consciousness. And higher happiness is available by raising to spiritual consciousness. So, avipashyata people are the karmis, higher them are yogis, and yogi or vipaschita, yogis are vipaschita, they understand that material enjoyment leads to suffering, leads to bondage. It perpetuates illusion. Therefore, I must break free from it. So even such people, Sri Krishna is saying, who is Vipaschita? Who can understand difference between matter and spirit, and based on this differentiation, they try to pursue spiritual reality and self-realization. Even such people, they have vision, they have discrimination. Yatato, they are also striving to control themselves, but senses are so wild, they drag away the mind. Haranti prasabham manaha. So even yogis who are vipaschitaha and yatato, even they are dragged away. So most of us are falling in this particular category. And maybe this category is higher for us because we were even more downgraded than from there we have come here. At least those who are attending these kind of classes, they are above that level. They at least know that no, there is something higher than what I am, what my condition is actually. That's why they want to learn. That's why they are coming to the class. I'm thankful to all of you that you are attending these classes and trying to learn something which is better than what we have learned in the material world. So there is a hierarchy of sense objects, senses and mind. The mind is central of all senses, and senses are connected to sense object. So Krishna describes in 15.9, that the 15th chapter of the 9th verse, that five senses, hear, sight, touch, fragrance, taste, all these are centered around the mind, just as five fingers are centered around the palm. So the senses are eternally connected to the mind. Did it make sense? Ray? Ray, I asked you some question.
Sorry, forgot to unmute. Yes, yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So be here. Don't go anywhere else, because Maya is very strong. It takes away our mind immediately. If I don't ask question, I don't know whether you are here or not. So be here. I will ask anyone, anytime, anything. Okay. Those who are switching the video off doesn't mean that I'm not looking at you. So, as I said, the mind is the center of all senses, and senses are connected to sense objects. So when we expose ourselves to sense objects, senses drags away the mind by the desire. This is created by the perception of sense objects. And desire is endless. You desire for something small today, it will increase by some more folds tomorrow, some more folds by day after. Like that, desire is endless. It ignites the desire. Because you have a small desire, it will ignite further more desires. Then it will fuel it for some more. And they become further ignite, and then we just like a moth runs towards fire. We are drawn towards the sense objects. That's why Krishna says in 2.58 verse that withdraw senses like tortoise, withdraw the limbs. But here Krishna is saying, although one is striving to do that, but senses are so powerful that when it perceives sense objects, senses drag the mind to outwards. So the limbs are coming out during that time. And haranti prashabham manaha. So this is an example of Vishwamitra Muni. His example is that the jiggling sound of ankle bell, enters his mind. It kindles his imagination. When the imagination is triggered, it bursts to upward and filled with fantasies of pleasure. Often, the sense control talks from men perceptive, but as Srimad Bhagavatam talks about, also from the female perspective. And Srila Prabhupada continues process of Krishna consciousness discussion, and he talks about the higher taste. Yamunacharya, he indicated pleasure of Krishna consciousness to so lofty, everything else becomes so lowly as against that. Yeah. So when we do the comparison, it is very, very lowly. So for a devotee, anything that distracts from Krishna is source of dismay. So even when someone is relishing joy of Krishna consciousness, he may get thought of sex pleasure. So it is not that we should mistake that because I get bad thought, I fall down. Because we are living in the material world and because of our past memories, something can come up, we get bad thoughts as well. And we start getting disturbed. So what is the solution to that? Shri Shakti Mataji, what is the solution to that?
We have to make our sadhana strong, Prabhuji.
How?
By
Our
chanting
mind is very, very
wicked.
dragged towards lust, sex.
Yeah.
That's the main objective, people have. Chant loudly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Swaranam, Pada Sevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam. So these are the 9 processes of bhakti, out of which Shravanam Kirtanam is the most important one. श्रवणम कीर्तनम, जितना जोर से बोलेंगे उतना ही जोर से हमें सुनाई आएगा. नहीं आता तो then you are deaf. That's why chanting is so important. It brings your mind back continuously. And as much as you chant, that much it will withdraw your senses from outwardly attractions, and it will bring you back to Krishna. It will bring you back to Krishna. So keep doing that practice. Varun, are you here?
Yes, Prabhu. I got a call in between. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So now I don't have to repeat the whole thing again, that because I have given the example of Prabhupada giving a class in New York in the cold weather. There was an ice cream vendor came with ding, 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 ding. People are running towards the ice cream vendor to buy the ice cream in the cold weather. Can anyone eat ice cream during that? But this is Maya. They're running towards the ice cream vendor and buying ice creams in that cold weather. So that is Maya. Maya is so strong, it can drag away your mind towards her. So you have to decide which Maya you want to go to, Yoga Maya or Mahamaya. Yoga Maya is Krishna. Mahamaya is Maya which takes away from Krishna. But though the Mahamaya is also the external energy of Krishna. He allows you, Krishna will allow you, though Krishna is staying in the region of the heart as Paramatma and he is observing you. He's a supervisor as well as permitter. Supervisor as well as permitter, both. Upadrashta Anubanta. So he is looking at you, what you are doing. He is not saying because we got free will. That's why he doesn't stop you from doing that. But once you start looking inside, then Krishna will guide you what to do, what not to do. Because Krishna will guide you through whom? Through the Guru. He doesn't directly speak to you. It will come through proper channel only. The jnana will come through proper channel. Through Guru only the knowledge will come to you. And then you have to meditate upon that knowledge and practice that knowledge on a daily basis so that you are doing the right practices in your life and then going ahead. Yeah. Any questions? So Krishna consciousness is such a transcendental practice that it allows us to practice in a very easy way just by chanting the 16 names of Ram and Krishna. जग में सुंदर है दो नाम, चाहे कृष्ण कहो या Ram. Right? We'll go to the next verse, 61. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत् मत्परः.
वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि
वसे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत् मत्परः.
वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि tasya pradnya pratisthita.
वसे हि यस्य
वसे हि
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियाणि
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Last time. Tani sarvani संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशी यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत् मत्परः वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठा.
Okay. So now Krishna will describe in this verse how one can practice spiritual life and how one get higher taste. Till now he said that he should seek the higher taste. But how will you get the higher taste? Unless you have MDH masala in your house, how are you going to put it? Isn't it? So that masala should be there, right, with you. And that masala Krishna will give now in this verse. Okay, so translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. I repeat, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. So, what is important here is fixing the mind on Krishna. So that fixing the mind on Krishna is not easy. For that, what is important is restraining the senses. That way, you should be having full control on your senses. And you can be fixed in Krishna consciousness. And that Krishna consciousness, which will be fixed on Krishna, upon him. That person is known as man of steady intelligence. So, Tani Sarvani Samyamya. Tani Sarvani, all the senses. Samyamya, control. Yukta Asita Matparha. When one is situated in this situation, it is related to the question, Kim Asita. So Krishna is saying Yukta Asita. When one engages the senses and situates himself, thus, how does one engage the senses? Matparaha. Fixing the mind on me. Matparaha. This is the first place in Bhagavad Gita when Krishna is referring to himself. Mataparaha. This is the first drop of bhakti in Bhagavad Gita which Krishna has dropped it till now. Just one simple small drop. Till now, Krishna has not referred to himself directly. Until now, Krishna has been the teacher of sense control. Yes, we all have to control our senses. Yeah, and we understand that now. So fix from here onwards, Krishna is saying, I am the object on which controlled senses should be fixed. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha. When you do that, vashehi yasyendriyani. Vashehi means you take them in your vasha. Then you take the control on you. Then you will be able to bring the senses under your conquest, under your control. Such a person who could do it is tasya pradnya pratishtitaha, is known as the man of steady intelligence. So control all the senses and then fix consciousness on me. Is that so easy to do so? It is not, but there are ways in which we can do that. In a sense, this verse is talking about 3 stages. Tani sarvani samyamya. Samyamya means restrain or control. We need to control when there is some opposition force. Krishna is talking about struggle. So in the stage of struggle, we need to have some level of control. And this alone is not sufficient. After this, yukta asita matparaha. After this, one fixes consciousness on Krishna. And when one fixes the consciousness on Krishna, then Vashehi Yashendriyani. After that, one conquers the senses because he has the full control now on the senses. So first control, then concentration, and then conquest. So 3 stages. First is to control, then concentration, and then conquest. Controlling the senses, that is the first one. So, for example, in Krishna consciousness, we need to control the senses. We wanted to chant Hare Krishna. We wanted to go to the temple. And even the temple, if our eyes are running here and there, who is come, who is gone, who is wearing what, उसने कौन सी साड़ी पहनी है, मैंने कौन सा dress पहना है, and all that, So if our mind is going here and there on these things, that means we are not fixed on Radha Gopinath. Our whole attention is to this, that how the singer is singing, whether it's a good tune or not a good tune, whether tal is good or not, whether rhythm is good or not. So these are, we ourselves manufacture these kind of thoughts, because of which we are getting diverted from our main goal of going to the temple. However, when we go there, there are good things that we get association of devotees. Association is very important. Yeah. So going to the temple is like taking the ashraya, surrender. For ashraya means the shelter. And what is the meaning of shelter? If someone is uh, drowning in the ocean and he's gasping for air, what is he looking for? That somebody will pick him up and take him out from the water? Yeah. In Hindi, there is saying, "Doobte ko tinke ka sahara." So he will look for something which will save him. Yeah. So that is surrender. So when we surrender ourselves completely on Krishna, Krishna will help you and take you out of that. And then we understand that remaining in the service to Krishna is what is the association of devotees to whom we can roam around. We should not be roaming around with people, those who are alcoholics, or people, those who are only enjoying चटकास जाएंगे, ये करेंगे, ये खाएंगे, वो पिएंगे, and all that. Not yielding anything by doing so. Once in a while, it's fine. Because if we just cut off from the world, then we have nowhere to go. Sometimes you have to give association to non-devotees. And sometimes you have to take association of them. Most of the time, you take association of devotees. And sometimes you have to give association to the devotees, to non-devotees, and talk about Krishna in a very subtle way. Preaching is not only that giving the classes. Preaching is something that you are also giving the subtle messages to the people. They should be noticing that, oh, how this person is different, He is not like others. The way he walks, the way he sits, the way he dresses, and the way he speaks to others is a very respectable way of talking to the people, very respectable way of dealing with the audiences. And his humble way of dealing. Turadapi Surishena Tarorapi Saishtuna Amane Namanadena Kirtadeya Sadaharihi. So he's humble than the blade of the grass. He is very humble in his approach to the people, right? But it is very easy to say. Prabhupada has also talked about, Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 4th verse, 4th chapter, 18 to 20 verse. Savai manah Krishna padar vindayor vachamsi vaikuntha gunanuvar varnane karo harer mandira marjanadaisu shrutim chakrayuta sata kathodeye. Mukunda lingalaya darshane dashau tat bhritya gatra sparshe angam sangamam and grahanam cha tat pada saroja saurabhe shrimat tulasya rasanam tad arpite padau kare kshetra padanu sarpane shiro rishikesha padma padabhivandane kamam cha dasye Natu kama kamaya yathottama shloka janashraya itrati. King Amrish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the Lord form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. His tongue is tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him. His legs in traveling to the holy places where his temple is situated. His head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desire in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara, devotee of the Lord. Yeah. So, concentration is when one concentrates the mind on Krishna, and after one concentrates the mind on Krishna, then we can go to the conquest. So, three steps we talked about: control, then concentration, and third is conquest. Now, in the context, so vase, in this way we conquer them. How? The example of conquesting is taming the horse. First, there is samyamya. So, a horse trainer, while horse is running here and there in stable, so make him stable first. Because do char chabuk marta hai, and then he starts standing at one place because now he understands, if I don't stand, I'm going to get another, bang on his hips. So he understands if I don't do it, if I don't stand like this, I'll be beaten. Yeah. So we are also, tolerating all this in this material world, but still we think that, oh, yesterday was like this, but today will be better for me, Next day again the same thing may happen, or something worst even happen. Then we think, oh, no problem. Yesterday was like that, therefore yesterday was okay, but for today I'll be okay, fine, I'll not have any problem. आज मैं थोड़ी सी पीऊंगा. I'll have only small. I'll not have a big peg. I will have small peg now today. But then, oh, I just had a small peg. Let me have one more, a small one. Like that, then you keep on drinking more, and then again you are vulnerable. Vulnerable even than what you were before, than yesterday. So this is the desire increases and increases and increases and increases. Yeah. So when the mind is restless, even when Krishna is in front of us, the deity as the holy name, still we can't just focus. Even if we are in front of Radha Gopinath, we can be somewhere else. He's standing there in the Vigraha form, opening his arm, please come, I will hug you. But we don't go. We find some other excuses to not go, to not go, to not go. We have to ensure that we go. Then only there is a conquest. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. 3 ways to do it. Sambandha, introduction to him. Abhideya, what practices do we have to do? Just go to the temple first. Associate with devotees, make them friends. And then start seeing Krishna in Gopinath and Radha Gopinath. And start realizing, how do we look at the deities? First we see at the lotus feet of the Lord. Then we see towards the navel. And then the face. We don't to go upward, down, We go downwards up. Always. First is lotus feet, and then we go up slowly, slowly, slowly. And there are not only one Radha Gopinath, there are 2 Radha Gopinath in our temple. One is Utsav Murti, and one is Pratyaksha Murti. Yeah. So whenever there is a Abhishek of Radha Gopinath, which deity comes down? Utsav Murti. Utsav Murti is brought down, and then we do the Abhishek.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Sambandh, Abhidaya, and what was the last one? Prabhuji?
Prayojan.
Prabhuji, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada has used a word like last third line, Phantasmagoria, Magoria. Is it a material, this thing? Looking for material happiness?
Last paragraph.
Last paragraph and the last third line.
अच्छा, पदौ हरे क्षेत्र पदानुसर्पणे. Pradhanusarpane, Risho Rishikesha, Padabhivandane. Padabhivandane means to vandan to the pada, lotus feet.
Okay. No, Prabhuji. In the purport, the last paragraph and the last third line. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than the Vishnu form simply waste their time in the vain search after some phantasmagoria.
Phantasmagoria means in his own, phantasmagoria means your own world.
Okay.
Fantasies, own fantasies.
Thank you.
Next verse 62. Dhayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangaste Pushupajayate.
Dayayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangaste Teshu Pajayate.
Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate.
Sangat sanjate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate.
Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pajayate.
Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangastesu vijayate.
Sangat Sanjayate Kahama Kama Krodho Vijayate.
Sangat
sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate.
Last time, I'll read the full shloka, repeat it. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsaha Sangat Seshu Pajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate.
Dhyayato
Vishayan pumsa sangastesu vijayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate.
So let's chant 63 as well, because they both, make more sense to be discussed together. Kobhat bhavati sambhuha sammoha smriti vibhramaha.
Krodhat bhavati sammoha samhat smriti vipramaha.
Smriti Bhramshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati.
Smriti
Smriti
Bhrimsat
Bhramsat
Buddhinaso
Buddhinasho Buddhinashat
Pranashyati.
Pranashyati.
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशः प्रणश्यति.
Krodhat bhavati
Bodhat Bhavati Samaha
sammohat
Samohat
smriti
Smriti Vipramaha Smriti
smriti
Pramsat
bhramshat buddhinasho
Buddhinasho Buddhinashat
pranashyati.
Pranashyati.
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
Krodhat bhavati
Bodhat
sammohat
Bhavati Samaha
smriti
Samohat Smriti Vipraha
smriti
Smriti
bhramshat
Brahmashat
sho
Vinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati.
Yeah. So translation of the verse 62, translation by Srila Prabhupada. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Yeah. So, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. When we contemplate on the sense objects, then what happens? Then sangas teshok pajayate. We develop attachment to that. Then sangat sanjayate kama. From strong desire come up kamaha, lust. Here kamaha means lust. Lust increases. When there is opposition to that, kamat krodho vijayate. That causes anger. You must have seen the young children, if they are playing with their whatever, small toy they are playing with. If you just take away from their hand, what happens? They don't like it. So we also develop the same mentality like a child. When you get addicted to something and it takes away from your hand, you develop that lust towards it. Yeah. And continuously you want to do that. Continuously you want to do that. You don't like any opposition over there at all. So the sangas tesho pajati, we develop attachment to it. Then sangat nindayate kama, from strong desire comes up kama, lust increases. And when there is opposition to that, kamat krodho vijayate, then it causes what? The anger. And who can stop me from enjoyment? I must enjoy. Why should somebody stop me? That question may come. And krodhat bhavati sammoha. Because of krodha, what happens? We get sammohit. We get, alluded to it. And we get actually into delusion. Instead of illusion, we get into delusion. And one gets confused what to be done, what not to be done. When we are confused, we should refer to the scriptures to understand what to do in such a situation. But sammoha smriti vibramaha. But when we are sammohat, deluded, we don't think about scripture. We forget scripture. So smriti here can refer to our memory, and it can also refer to smriti shastra, which means we meant to keep in our smriti. See, when we look at the tree of the knowledge that comes to us from Krishna, okay, so the knowledge comes in two branches, Smriti and Shruti. Okay, but some of them are Smriti and Shruti both. Those who are only Smriti Dhara, okay, and some of them are people who are Shruti Dhara. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita is Smriti within Shruti. Smriti within Shruti. And Srimad Bhagavatam is Shruti because it was narrated by Ch2 Goswami in the Naimisharanya. So it is a Smriti. It was Shruti rather. Yeah. But for Ch2 Goswami, it was Smriti. So see how it is cyclic. Within that, for him it was Smriti, but for us it is the Shruti. But Vyasadeva, what he did, he got everything written for us. And Prabhupada, on top of it, he wrote for everyone in the books and in the book format and translation in every language. Every available language he has translated it to. Yeah. So, Krodhat bhavati sammoha. From anger comes delusion. And one is confused what to be done and what not to be done. So, but sammoha spriti vibrama. In sammoha, what happens? We get spriti vibrama. Our smriti does not stops working. So that's the reason we don't get the help of the scriptures. We think that if I'm not getting this, that means somebody is not treating me properly. I should get this because I want it. That anger comes in us. Sammohat smriti vibramaha. And smriti, what happens in sammohat? That we are into delusion. And we don't think about scriptures at all. We forget scriptures. So smriti here can refer to our memory. It can also refer to smriti shastra. So that smriti shastra was what I was talking about. Smriti shastra is Srimad Bhagavatam or Shruti, even the Aranyakas, Itihasas, these are the shastras which are based on the Smriti. But they are Shruti as well. So it was written by Vyasadeva. So there are two Itihasas. What are the two Itihasas? Ramayana and Mahabharata. But Shruti within the Smriti is Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken within the part of that Itihasa. Yeah, Shri Shakti Mataji, anything bothering you?
No. There was someone. Matlab, my mom was asking me something.
Oh,
So,
okay.
sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Somebody dropped out. Saruni, I think. So, Sambohat Smriti Vibhramaha. So, we forget about the scriptures. We don't want to go back to scriptures and to take the help of scriptures during that time. Because Smriti, Sambohat Smriti Vibhramaha. Our Smriti gets poisoned. We can say that. And we don't want to go back to scriptures because that time the anger is there in us. Yeah, Ray, you are
So
saying something?
Shruti is like the direct voice of God. Is that what it
Yes.
means? It
Yeah.
comes, and then
Um,
Smriti
not
is,
really, not really. So direct
what is
voice
it?
from God is coming in the Bhagavad Gita.
Hmm.
And that was a discussion between Arjuna and Krishna. Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah. And
but it's
Vyasadeva
something that
was the
came.
literary incarnation of the Lord.
Okay.
Okay? So he spoke and Ganpati wrote.
Hmm.
So Smriti, Shruti within the Smriti, like that.
What is Smriti?
Smriti means remembering.
Okay.
Smriti means whatever you remember. It's Smriti. Shruti means what you hear.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Okay. So Smriti Brahmasad Buddhi Nasho. When Smriti is Brahmasad, what happens? Buddhi get Nasha. It starts getting depleted. Our Buddhi start getting depleted because it is a Vibramaha, Brahmasad. So we must have heard that there is a virus has come into the system, and some memory has gets corrupted. So similarly, there is a Smriti Brahmasad, it is get corrupted, and we don't want to go back to uh, scriptures and use our intelligence to correct ourselves. So, buddhi nashat pranashyati. When we lose our intelligence, we fall away to material consciousness. And from spiritual consciousness, we get into the material consciousness. So, there are multiple stages in which we may fall away. Contemplation, which is dhyato. Attraction, which is sangha. Of sangha of what kind of people? Sangha means association of what kind of people? Contemplation is dhyato. How do we contemplate in a certain situation? Depends on how you remain connected with the knowledge, how you remain connected with the scriptures. And then attraction, that is sangha, depends on the attraction, depends on the sangha, the association. And obsession, that is kama. So three things: contemplation, attraction, and obsession. Okay. Now we come to 63. We chanted the verse, but we have not discussed 63 so far. So we'll chant 63 again. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama. Okay. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibrama. Pratibhamshad buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati.
Krodha bhavati
Krodha
sammoha
bhavati sammoha,
smriti
sammohat smriti vibramaha, smriti
shad buddhi
brahmshat
naso
buddhinasho, buddhinashat
vinashat
pranasyati.
Yeah. So, krodhat bhavati samva. So now he is in anger in the last verse, right? So when there is an anger, what happens? Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Because anger is there and you want the things, so you go into sammoha. That means you are attracted, illusory attraction of the thing. And sammoha smriti vibrama. And because of sammoha, smriti vibramaha. Smriti gets vibrama. It gets corrupted. Smriti brahmasad buddhi nasho. And because of smriti brahmasad, buddhi is getting nasha. And buddhi nashat pranashyati. And with buddhi, when it gets wasted, what will happen? Everything will get wasted now. Your life is gone after that. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. See how the cycle is, right? So from anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory happens. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Yeah. Are you all okay to continue on just for this verse and then we'll close the class? Yeah. So krodhad bhavati sammoha. From anger, what arises? Illusion. And from illusion comes loss of memory. So irritation, delusion, oblivion, and stupefaction. Now all these are synonymous words. So all that happened when? Because of krodha. Because of krodha. So we have to control over in the see, we started from controlling the senses from Patanjali yoga system to here and to become a yogi. You know, it does not mean that being a grahastha or being a brahmachari, you can't have the yogic practices. Yogic practices are for everyone. Okay. Not only for those who are sadhus and sitting in the Himalayas, it is only for them. No, that's a wrong perception. So, Srila Prabhupada continues that the senses also have to be controlled in Krishna's service. And he quotes that Rupa Goswami for Falgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. Falgu means there is an imaginary river. Falgu Vairagya. Some people, show off that, oh, they have taken the Vairagya. Vairagya means they have taken the sannyas or renunciation. And there is Yukta Vairagya. What is Falgu Vairagya means? False Vairagya. False renunciation. There is a verse for that in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So, Prapanchikatya Buddhya Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha Mubukshabhi Parityago Vairagyam Falgu Kathayate. So, Prapanchika Buddhya. Prapanchika means mundane, material. That buddhi which one thinks is mundane. Hari Sambandha Vastunaha. Those objects which are connected with Lord Hari. Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha. Yeah. And Mumukshabhi Parityago. One who thinks them as mundane and Mumukshabhi. One who is aspiring for liberation gives them up Parityago. Such a person is called as Vairagyam Falagu Kathyate. That Vairagya is considered Falagu. And it is lower class Vairagya. It is not higher class Vairagya. It is a lower class Vairagya. So the point is, how does one control his senses? One has to fix the mind and senses on Krishna. And how does one do that? By using the senses in the service to Krishna. And when we can use the material things in Krishna's service, what happens? We are purifying those things and spiritualizing those things by offering to Krishna. See, why do we offer agarbatti, incense stick? Any logic behind that? Ghee stick, ghee wick. Why do we do that? Let's start with agarbatti. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Right? Om Bhu, Bhuvar and Swaha. So, what is there on the agarbatti? It is actually soil. Bhuvar. Bhu, Bhuvar. And then we swaha it. And then we circumambulate, because Krishna has given us this material world. So we are using it, so we are offering it back to him. Like we go into Ganga Maya and we offer Ganga water to Ganga herself. So we offer that to her, saying that Ganga Maya, because of you, we are getting the water. So we are thankful to Ganga Maya and we tell her that, thank you very much for giving us this water. And you are the purest of the pure river. So dhyato vishram pumsaha. So how we can avoid dhyato? We can't close our eyes and walk. Whatever we are using it is in Krishna's service. And that way we can avoid dhyato. And Prabhupada gives example of how a devotee can take prasad. Whereas an impersonalist can fall back because there is no higher taste available for him. So I talked about three things: irritation, krodha, delusion, sammoha, and oblivion, smriti bhamashad. Smriti bhamashad. This smriti gets, or the memory gets corrupted. Yeah. So that is actually the forgetfulness. Irritation is, who can stop me? Why I can't do this? So the thought comes in the mind, who are you to stop here? Let me do it. Otherwise, I will just cry here and I'll create scenes and this and that. Children do that. And we also have that childish qualities in us that we also show those kind of, angers at times. And delusion, that is sammoha, is confused, don't know what to do. What should I do? What should I not do? And so and so. Oblivion, smriti brahmashad, is forgetfulness. So one doesn't know what I should do. Delusion is undecided. So normally in this situation, we turn towards scripture, but in this stage, one is not able to turn towards scripture because he is the illusion at the moment. Oblivion. His smriti is brahmasad. It's corrupted, so he cannot go. And stupefaction is buddhinasha. And destruction is pranashyati. One falls away. So that is why krodha is so bad. So by this way, one falls away from spiritual level of consciousness to sensual level. So one falls away to the sense gratification. So there is a process by which one fall, and there is a process by which one can check ourselves, keep on checking ourselves. There is checkpoints for ourselves. That's why the sadhana card is. See, I'm trying to bring that point here because, the importance of sadhana card. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you have spoke about Falgun Vairagya, which is a false renunciation. So what was the other one?
So one is Falgu Vairagya, other one is Yukta Vairagya.
Yukta, okay.
Yukta Vairagya.
Which is Yukta
Sorry?
is? I mean, like
I'll be
Falgun is
coming to
false,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be coming to that. I haven't come to that.
Okay. Because I was just, if I miss out that will go as like I did not make a
No,
note of
I
it.
will
That's
not
it.
miss, but.
Thank you.
So now, it is like, I can give multiple examples, but only thing is, in the limited time, I can give only limited, knowledge that I can share with you. So like, snowballs are formed. Initially, small pebble of snow starts rolling, and then slowly we start building, bigger like that. So like that. So this is how our habits are also starts getting developed. So they're like snowballs. Yeah. And that's where the negative thoughts, when one desire come, nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So the best thing is to take the shelter to the scriptures. Yeah. But taking the shelter to the scriptures is not that easy. Because unless you have a guru, you cannot do that. Yeah. So our situation is that I won't contemplate on it, then that is the end of it. But once we start contemplating, then what happens from contemplation? our imagination gets triggered. And Bhagavad Gita, being the words of Krishna, every word is very important. It is dhyato vishya pumsan. Not paschyato or drishto vishyan pumsa. So Krishna is not saying that when we see the sense object, we can't walk in the world with blindfolds. आंखें बंद कर तो नहीं चल सकते ना. So you are always going with open eyes and you are looking at the people, looking at the things, and it will always keep attracting you. And that's where we have the control is very important. Control on our senses is very important. And that's where we come to the level that instead of using our energy in the anger, we should use our energies to remove the obstacles from our life. The obstacles of illusory power. Yes. And there is long story because less people are there in the class now. I don't want to continue because otherwise they will be missing the knowledge. So probably we should stop here and continue next week again from this verse. Yeah. Let's do a Vaishnava Pranam and then we close the class. Yeah. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vriddha ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. उपस्थित गौर भक्त वृंद की जय.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी की जय.